Morning, gang. Welcome back to Trash Band Off-Road. Today we're going to mess with the front end of the Overland Geo Tracker. Probably end up taking most of the parts off the project rig. Parts rig. There's no project. I don't plan on fixing that. Okay, we'll jack the front end of this one up, take the skid plate off, switch this stuff over, hopefully. The guy I bought it from said those are brand new CV axles, which is cool. We'll see how the third member turns out. The third member in the rear was good. We did have to clean it up. It had a lot of metal shavings and debris in it. Yesterday we also did the exhaust. Again, hopefully got that fixed up. And what else? Oh, the tube. The tube for the rear end was way too short, so I lengthened the tube for the rear end. So hopefully today we get this stuff switched over. Got the front end up, lifted up on both rigs. The guy was telling the truth about that. That's a new CV axle, at least on this side. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to take that puck lift out right now. I want to put it in the X90. At least then I'll get something out of this rig. So probably going to do that today too, on top of all the other stuff. But check this out. You can't see it because it's inside underneath the wheel, but I had two of these bolts back out on this one, and on the passenger side I also had one back out. This one backed all the way out. Look at that. So I'll have to put some Loctite on those when I put them back in. Also, in videos, how I always complain, well, not always, but I complained before about how this stupid hub, the factory with the stupid Allen head, no longer my least hated hub design. I haven't took these off before, but as I look at my mile marker ones, that's a stupid star. So I got to find the right star for that, and then I got to make sure I have an extra one to throw in my trail bag, so that in case I have to do this somewhere, I have that part. That's now my new least favorite hub design. I don't think I'm going to switch them over to the factory ones. I'm going to keep them the mile marker ones, but that's my new least favorite. So we'll start working on this rusty one here first. Take those off. I sprayed some lube on them, try to get these things to drop out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when that spring drops out, I'm just going to pull that, because the spring is still loose in the back, so I can pull those ones too, and it won't be a big deal. Probably won't fit those 31s anymore, but that's okay. I know I have a set of stock wheels around here somewhere. I told you, these are my least favorites. That one there got stripped out. So now we're going to have to use this as a hold bar and use this, smack it with a hammer or something to get it started, and then ratchet wrench them all off. So it is possible to do it without taking those off. Just takes a lot longer than just hitting it with the ratchet, with the, you know, the DeWalt. So gotta do it the long way. Got the front end of the parts car all apart, at least axle wise anyway. Haven't dropped the front third member yet, but I will drop all that out in order to change out the third member, because I'm going to put different gears in here anyway and keep the 512s. Sometimes I have issues, guys, of knowing when to record, because all this stuff that we're doing here I've already done on the channel, so you guys already seen all this stuff. So just going to stop every once in a while and give you an update, because this is all stuff that there's already videos of me doing. Sun's starting to come out. It's going to be a warm one. So, something interesting with these mile marker hubs. They're pretty simple. You know, this section and this section here, this spins freely. You lock the hubs. This comes in, grabs everything, makes it all spin as one. But on the passenger side, it was missing a couple of pieces. So check that out. It's supposed to have another washer. So there's a washer, oops, there's a washer right there. And then on top of that goes this piece. Then there's supposed to be another larger washer and a snap ring. Neither of those were in there. I don't think it affects anything, but it's just interesting. I've pushed them together and locked them and unlocked them, and they seem to be just fine. So I don't think that, oh, and the mile marker ones have gaskets. Also not sure why, but not sure, but I'm pretty sure that that did not have any effect on the front wheels not spinning. I don't think that had an effect on that. Got the front third member out. This axle here was in good shape. The stub shaft that goes in here, so that wasn't the problem. Passenger side axle, it's broke off in there. So at least this axle was broken, which we thought that was the problem when we were up there, because this axle stuck out and I couldn't get to go back in, so we assumed it was broken. What's going on inside? We'll find out. We'll crack this thing open real quick and see if the gears are okay on this one too. Looks like the front ring and pinion's in good shape too. That's nice. It's nice not to blow up the gears. Guess that means I might have been able to not buy that and just buy axle shafts, or maybe try those 4-door shafts I got kicking around. But oh well, I got it now. The trick now is to get that out of there, because that's the passenger side axle that we thought we broke. Driver's side was okay, no damage. It didn't spin because all of the, one wheel had all the action, whatever. The front end is open, so there wasn't anything that would make that wheel lock up and work. So we're gonna try to see if we can maybe take a long piece of rebar or something and push it down there. Try to pop that axle piece out just to make sure none of the gears are twisted up or anything. Then we're gonna put it back together and start reassembling this. Used a long screwdriver, pulled that thing out. There it is, broken front axle. Then I went and cleaned this all up and checked around here. I've never seen a front axle break without breaking the mount on the third member, but as far as I can tell, it's not broken up. Looks like it's still in good shape. The thing didn't leak, so I know the housing's not cracked. Might hose it off a little bit just to be 100% sure. We'll see. I might not. I'm kind of lazy. You guys have seen in my videos that extra step, I usually don't take it. But I did make sure that the filler can come open. It's already hogged out a little bit because somebody didn't use the right tool. This is the right tool. It's a 10mm square. Do not try to use your 3/4 or half, whatever ratchet. You say, oh, it fits in there. That does not fit in there. That rounds out those edges. This is the right tool. It's on Amazon. Spend a couple of bucks. It makes it so much nicer to have the right tool. So I made sure that was open, because on the rear, the bleeder on the rear is welded shut. Not sure what that's all about, but I've left it alone. But the top does open and I fill it from that. So the filling is more important than the draining. So drain this, or made sure this works. Now we'll tighten it back up. Probably just finger tight, because we're going to open it up later to put fluid into it. So now that we got that, I'll show you the other broken piece of that axle, because I don't know if I did it yet. And then we will start putting this thing back together again. So that's where the axle broke off on the driver's side. Wait, passenger side. Driver's side axles were in good shape. So turns out my third members were okay after all, which is great news. Had 3 broken axles, but the third members were good. Now we've already messed with the exhaust, and got to put the parking brake back in, because there was a time when I was going to switch just the axles, the whole axle, not just the shafts. That didn't work. So parking brake, and now we'll start messing with this radiator and figure out how it would be best to remount it, because it doesn't stay put very well. It probably will on normal circumstances, but being on the Rubicon is kind of like being in a car wreck. I lost a body mount somewhere. Some of the other body mounts are caved in, so the truck now sits lower than it did before. It's crazy. So you know how sometimes you just can't win? So I took the radiator that was in the Silver 99 that I took the motor out of, and I figured that I would just use that one. But unfortunately, when I hooked up the other fan, it wasn't straight, and that fan scraped into the radiator, and I hoped it didn't do any damage, but as it turns out, you might be able to see down there, it's leaking really good right there. So I need a new radiator. I also need to lift this motor back up a little bit. There's a big dent on the bar that supports the transfer case, and so the motor's now facing down right there. Try to get that out of the light so you can see it. Look at that radiator just running. Alright, well, I did all I can. Now I gotta buy parts again. I can't use the radiator from a 1 liter or the 1.6 liter because the stupid connections are on the wrong side. So guess I'm kind of screwed for now until I can find a radiator.